Each year, Microsoft Research hosts hundreds of influential speakers from around the world, including leading scientists, renowned experts in technology, book authors, and leading academics, and makes videos of these lectures freely available.
Without further ado, please welcome up a hardware entrepreneur. I first met her a couple of years ago at CES. And since then, she's released an awesome product that, like I said, I use 4.8 times a week. Ariel Gartner.
So my name is Ariel Garten. I'm the CEO of Interact, and I make a product, Muse, the brain sensing headband. So you can track your sleeps, multiples, every time you sleep. You can track your steps. But until now, it's been very difficult to track what goes on in your mind. You'd go to a hospital and sit with a whole bunch of sensors coming off of your head in a clinical grade EEG. You'd have at least 100 wires connected to a device in the other room, and somebody else would be looking at your data. We wanted to change all that. So this is Muse, the brain sensing headband. It's a sleek little brain reader with 2 sensors on the forehead and 2 behind the ears. Tracks your brain activity in real time and sends it to your smartphone or your tablet. The device slips on just like this. Slim, sleek, easy to wear, revolutionizes being able to track your brain anywhere, anytime. So I started working in a research lab in the early 2000s with Dr. Steve Mann. Some of you may know Steve as the inventor of the wearable computer. And at that point, we were doing things like making concerts where 48 people at a time could affect the outcome of musicians' synthesized instruments by changing brain state. So you'd have teams in the audience, each one of them changing their brain state in order to change the music that came out. We went on to do many, many musical explorations about how you make music with your mind and what you discover in the process of doing so. We then wanted to show that your brain could affect physical objects. This is the levitating chair. We made it in probably 2008. As you would sit in the chair and relax, it would detect an increase in your alpha brain state, and the chair would rise to the ceiling, thanks also to a handy-dandy winch inside that ceiling. We then wanted to demonstrate that you could change really, really, really big things with your mind, that your brain could have a massive impact on the world around you. So we were approached by the Ontario government to do a large installation at the Vancouver 2010 Winter Olympics. There, visitors to Ontario House in Vancouver can control the lights on the Canadian Parliament buildings, Niagara Falls, and the CN Tower with their minds from across the country. Over the 17 days of the Olympics, 7,000 people got to interact in real time with these icons on the other side of the world, literally extending parts of themselves to reach out to downtown Toronto and show all of the participants there what was on their mind. From there, we got really excited about all the things that you could build. This is our thought-controlled beer tap. So we got really excited that you could literally thought control anything in the world. We made thought-controlled toasters, thought-controlled slot car machines, and of course our famous thought-controlled beer tap. And anybody who's in our office during our Christmas party is more than welcome to come on over and pour yourself a beer with your mind. So then we started to realize, okay, you've got this interaction where you're interacting with the device and the device knows what's on your mind. That's pretty amazing. The device can respond to you. Then we recognized that something more interesting could happen, that if the device knows what's on your mind, it can start to make assumptions and guesses for you, and you could be in relationship with the device. This is an example of responsive technology that we created. It's a 3D environment where the elements of the environment respond to you. The sounds, the lights, everything around it responds to your brain state. This is our responsive room, where the elements in the physical room, the lighting, the music, respond to brain state. So as you read, the lights get brighter. As you relax, the music dims. As you fall asleep, the blinds close. So here we had a responsive loop between the user and the technology, where it knew something about you, then represented data, which then affected your state, then informed the computational system again about you. We then recognized that if you were in a situation where you had a human and a computer in the loop and the computer knew something about you, the most important thing that happened was that you could know something about you. That this technology in its highest form was fundamentally important in helping you understand what was going on in your own mind and using that information to learn about yourself, to make decisions, and to change the way that you interacted in your daily life. We recognized that most of the problems in the world don't exist out there. They exist up in here. When you look at lack of sleep, $68 billion a year is lost due to lack of sleep. That's a mental problem. You look at self-esteem, 85% of the world has low self-esteem. That's a mental problem. ADD, 1 in 9 kids is diagnosed with ADD. They say that 2 billion people worldwide suffer from brain-based health and productivity challenges. And as we learn to manage and understand what goes on up here, we can change what goes on out here. So we created an application, Muse Calm, that helps you understand what goes on in your mind in a very, very fundamentally simple way and help you improve it. So this is what it looks like. The metaphor that we use is your mind is like the wind. It's a focused attention training tool that trains your state of focused attention. So when your state of focused attention, the sky is clear and calm just like this, and you hear just very, very calm noises. And as you start to become distracted, think, ruminate, when your mind goes elsewhere, the sky becomes cloudy and the winds pick up. So use the device to get simple, real-time feedback on your brain state, to know when you're in a state of focused attention and when your mind is wandering. And as you build states of focused attention, 2 really important things happen. 1, you learn to focus better. You learn to avoid all the distractions in your environments, the lights, the sounds, the stuff that's out there. And 2, you learn to avoid your internal distractions. Your negative thoughts, your negative feelings, ruminations, the stuff that comes up inside that can cause us to go down those negative spirals. Whereas before we may not have a mechanism as to how to take your brain off there, here you learn that you don't need to follow those whimsies of thought, that you can put your brain on what's important to you and manage your internal state more effectively. So we now have tens of thousands of people musing across the world. Muse is actually available in Canada in Best Buy. There is a clinical grade EEG in Best Buy today. In the US, you can buy it on Amazon.com. We're now moving into international distribution. And we have people really making fundamental change in their life. From simple things like improving their attention and their productivity at work, to improving their sleep, to improving their ADD and their anxiety, to just understanding when they're focused and when they're not. I heard a really lovely story the other day from a woman who was in the park with her kid. And after using Muse for a little while, she recognized that although she was in the park with her kid, most of the time her mind was just wandering. She was thinking about her grocery list, she was thinking about what she was going to do tomorrow, and she wasn't focused on the kid that was in front of her. So as you start to notice these subtle interactions in your mind, when you're on task and when you're off, you can make some pretty major shifts in your life. So we have over 50 research labs currently using Muse. Mayo Clinic's doing a study with it on cancer care patients, using it to decrease stress. Harvard's doing a study on sleep and anxiety. Baycrest in Canada is looking at blood pressure, affect, and cognitive processes. There's 47 others. There's also an open SDK, so there are lots of institutions making games with it. Lots of potential for gaming with kids with ADHD. That's a really common use case. But I'm actually here to talk to you about the consequences of this technology. This is the point where we're going to shut down the camera